Ladies and gentlemen, friends, this is Puji Pujono again from Rumah Resilience Indonesia. This time we were really privileged to have the visit of our colleagues from SIAP SIAGA. I have with me Mas Noto and Mbak Nia. Shortly I will request them to introduce themselves to you. Today we'll be talking about the exhibition booth that they install in the Rumah Resilience Indonesia in conjunction with Global Platform for Disaster Reduction, the 7th session in Bali, Indonesia. Mas Noto, good morning and thanks for coming.
Thank you, Pak Puji. Good morning. How are you?
I'm well. That's been a long time. Yes. Now, if you kindly just take a short moment to introduce yourself and what you do with SIAP SIAGA, please.
Yes, I am Notonegoro. I'm a disaster risk management advisor for SIAP SIAGA program. SIAP SIAGA is actually a program working at 3 levels, Pak Puji, at the sub-national level, at the national level, and also at the regional level. Right. So we try to link what happens at the local level and bring it up to the regional level and promotes lessons from the local level. And also the other way around, you know, lessons that we collect from the regional level, we try to apply it at the local level.
So excellent. Right. The second person is Mbak Nia, also from SIAP SIAGA. Mbak Nia, why don't you introduce the disaster risk reduction portion that relate to this global platform, the relevance of that initiative to global platform.
Thank you, Pak Pujono. Thank you for having me. I'm Nia Firtica. I'm the communications in charge for the program. Well, most of our work or best practices with either the National Agency of Disaster Management, BNPB, or the Ministry of Home Affairs are very related to the GPDRR, because some of the work focusing on how to reduce disaster risk in various communities level, including the one that Panoto has mentioned, as well as regional level, and also some of the work that related to COVID recovery. So how we can help to accelerate COVID recovery from various aspects, including the economic aspect.
Excellent. Now let me go back to Mas Noto again. Now, you have this exhibition booth in Rumah Resiliency, and we're really glad that you participate in this. Now, when one steps into your booth, what is it that they expect to see in your booth?
Well, hopefully they will be able to get a lot of knowledge product from our booth. For example, one of them is a new lessons about because resilience is local. I don't know. Yes, this is. It's entitled Because Resilience is Local. It's basically about our lessons. It's collected from 2 years ago, involving about 500 stakeholders from Asia Pacific region, and we are looking at how COVID-19 has impacted on disaster management and disaster resilience. And in these lessons, I think, colleague, if you come to our booth, you'll be able to see a number of succinct synthesis of what it means to be resilience at the local level, and how important it is after the pandemic, particularly, and in anticipation of future event like the pandemic that we have. Yeah.
Right. Now let me go back to Mbak Nia. Just going back to Indonesia context, in which provinces that SIAP SIAGA is working, and how does it work actually?
Thank you, Pa. We are working at 4 provinces: East Java, Bali, NTT, and NTB.
Okay.
So how does it work?
Yes.
Because the work that we are doing at the subnational level at the 4 provinces is also linked to BNPBs at our national levels, as well at the regional level, and also linked to the local BPBDs. So it's.
But what do you actually do in SIAP SIAGA? When you say it's linked to BPBD and BNPB, what do you actually do? I mean, you know.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So we are supporting several of RPJMN plan that being translated into BNPB's work plan, annual work plan. And each of the program that related to SIAP SIAGA work is supported and compiled into an annual work plan agreed by SIAP SIAGA as well as BNPB and the 4 provinces. So therefore it linked all together to ensure that the program achieved at the national level linked also at the subnational level.
Let me just take this so that it will not get too convoluted. So what you say, there is a medium-term development plan at the national level for the whole country, and there are the portfolio of BNPB in that the medium-term plan, and some of those commitments or programs are related to what SIAP SIAGA's objectives, and you do that with BNPB.
Yes, that is correct.
Do you do the same at the local level, at the provincial level?
Yes, that is correct. So the annual work plan consists of work plan, basically programs, you easy to understand, at the national level and at the provincial level. So at the national level, we work closely with various ministries, like Ministry of Home Affairs, BNPB of course, and for regional work with Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and as well as Bappenas. So at the subnational level, we work with the provincial government, as well as BPBD and Bappedas.
BPBD being the local disaster management agencies.
Yes, correct.
Right.
Yes.
Let me go back to Mas Noto. Now you're talking about this knowledge product that SIAP SIAGA is producing for the region, right? Now, in addition to this, as Nia was saying, there are sub-national products. Could we expect that we'll see some of this work in your exhibition booth as well?
Yes. Maybe Nia, you can show this. This is the latest subnational product. It's human interest stories from 7 communities around the volcanoes. So inside this book you will hear, you can read stories from people who live around the volcanoes. And it's quite interesting actually, because those people include women, people with disabilities, and how they live side to side with the hazard, which is a volcano. So that's quite an interesting story, hopefully.
So the exhibition booth seems to promise a lot of knowledge product, human interest, as well as programmatic information. Not only at the local and national, but also regional, right?
And don't forget, we also have some cool merchandise.
There you go. I was about to ask.
Exactly.
Do you have more prizes?
Oh yes, absolutely. So we have cool goodie bags up for grabs, and cool merch up for grabs. And all you have to do is register at our booth, and everyone is welcome.
I was just curiosity. It's the blue, the theme color of SIAP SIAGA, and look at the logo over there. A lot of orange and blue. Is this some sublime message coming out of this? No, but joke aside, one that struck me is that SIAP SIAGA seems to be, it has the logo of the Australian. So is this an Indonesian-Australian cooperation? Could you just, Mas Noto, just speak briefly about this?
Yes, it is an Indonesian-Australian cooperation, because Australia has been very committed in terms of supporting Indonesia in promoting disaster risk management, and also promoting the role of Indonesia in the region. In the region, ASEAN Pacific.
Now, we look at the schedule of activities regionally. It seems like this coming September, there will be Asia Pacific Ministerial Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction in Brisbane. In fact, this is one significant event in Indonesia that gave birth to a large network of NGOs in the preparation for this ministerial conference, but it got postponed because of the COVID, right? Question to you: being an Australian-Indonesian cooperation program as you are, what is it that you plan to bring forward from here to Brisbane?
It's quite interesting. The government has its own idea how it will close the loop, from Indonesia going to Brisbane. It's gone through a several process. But from SIAP SIAGA itself, we also have a number of lessons that we're planning to highlight during the Brisbane event. But particularly what we want to highlight is how to bring resilience to the local possible level, the most local possible level. That's why if you see our collection of knowledge product, is all about resilience at the local level.
Excellent. So this local resilience seems to be a theme that's shared widely among stakeholders here, right? Yes. That's being said, though, I noticed that Indonesia is one among very few countries that call themselves archipelagic. All right? And our brothers and sisters in the Pacific, they by nature are archipelagic. Now, could you just tell us, not necessarily official, but the connection of bringing Indonesia as a regional player and leader at that, in terms of archipelagic country, where the SIAP SIAGA bears importance to that, Mas Noto?
Yes. This is particularly important, Pak Puji, because the government of Indonesia has actually been requested to share some experience. Vanuatu, Nauru, they've asked for some experience from Indonesia in terms of how we are managing resilience at the coastal level, how this kind of stuff. And therefore, I think Australia, with its presence in the Pacific, which is quite strong, collaboration between Indonesia and Australia would be very beneficial for both countries in terms of how promoting what lessons we can get from Indonesia, and then connecting it through the Australia's connection, and then connecting it to the needs or to the demand in the Pacific regions. What we are working currently particularly is on, like I mentioned early on, is on the coastal resilience. Being an archipelagic country, of course, Indonesia has a lot of coastal lines and how to deal with small island and stuff like that. So we are in the process of collecting lessons of developing toolkits on resilience at the coastal level, and hopefully we can also highlight this and share this with countries in the Pacific region.
Certainly. Now, in my past life, I was part of an operations of assisting the government of Fiji in the aftermath of a major cyclone in Fiji. And in the aftermath, we connected Fiji and Indonesia, and we brought Indonesian capability to help respond to Fiji. And we tried to establish that the pipeline between the disaster training ground in Sentul, Indonesia, with the Blackwater training in Nadi in Fiji. And we hope to have a pipeline where officers from Fiji and the Pacific, Fiji being the hub, will have their capability building in Indonesia and vice versa. And I hope that SIAP SIAGA will actually help this and make it...
Yes, certainly, because I think it was formalized. There is an MOU between Fiji and Indonesia, between the two governments. It was formalized, and Indonesia's capacity in managing disasters is actually recognized very well. I lived in the Pacific in Samoa for 4 years, and then they recognize Indonesia as one that's actually quite advanced.
One of the older brothers.
Yes, one of the older brothers. So this is actually a good entry point for Indonesia to promote our country in the region.
Right. So, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, this is a brief conversation with my colleagues from SIAP SIAGA. I have Mas Noto and Mbak Nia. Now, for the last minutes, if you like to have last words that you like to convey to our audience, you're most welcome. I'll start with Mas Noto. Your last words.
Thank you very much. I think mostly I would like to encourage colleagues to come into our booth, because not only you will get cool merchandise, but hopefully you will also bring some new knowledge that's been distilled from quite a long process. So it's quite valuable knowledge, I guess, for you to get in our booth. Yes.
Badia?
Thank you, Pa. So if you come to our booth, just like my colleague says, the cool merch are up for grabs, and also you can get these very cool stories or success stories or best practices or report, what have you, whatever you need, you can get it in our booth.
Thank you.
Thank